Well, hello there, folks. I just wanted to have a bit of a sit down chat with everyone that's following this channel. And I want to reframe a few things for potential people that may be presenting, training, running workshops. And I want to put it under the banner of respect. Respect. Now, I'm going to postulate that the majority of trainers out there, workshop facilitators, are actually unconsciously disrespecting their audiences. They are unconsciously doing things that actually are not appropriate and are not actually valuing their audiences. And it's really potentially coming across as unprofessional or coming across as incompetent when really, if we put it under the banner of respect, we can really start to think about maybe I should change my behavior. Maybe it's not the audience's fault. Maybe there's some things that I could entertain the possibility of if I put it under the heading of respect, right? So it's a bit of an interesting frame to put around it, but I've been in the game over 10 years now. I've been teaching, coaching, mentoring trainers on how to run great workshops, on how to run great training sessions. And it still fascinates me. It fascinates me, and I get so curious, and I try to be positive around it. That when people do things in a training environment and they get negative responses from their audiences, they still blame their audience, right? Or they continue doing things and then they wonder what's going on. Or they do things and then they go, there's nothing wrong with that. And everybody else can see it, but they can't, right? So I'm going to run through 6 ways that people disrespect their audiences without even realizing they're disrespecting their audiences, right? So number one is get your slides right. Get your slides right. Get your slides right. Because the thing is, there are still trainers out there, still workshop presenters, whatever it may be, that look at their slides, they put it together, they cram all the information together, and then they expect their audiences to look at it, be able to read it, understand it, and they're poorly designed. There's too many words on it. It's hard to read. The wrong colors. It's just a bad design. And I would postulate that potentially, if you're not willing to actually go, okay, I've made my slides, then go and sit down and look at the slides and go, how readable are they? Well, maybe you're disrespecting your audience, right? You're not even thinking about what it's like to be in their position, right? Number one, get your slides right, or you're disrespecting your audience if you don't get your slides right. Number two, they don't give their audiences breaks, right? Now, I find that very disrespectful to an audience because everybody's got physical, mental, and emotional, I guess, limits to what's possible for them. So if you're not considering that, I would say you're being disrespectful to your audience, right? Now, I know disrespectful is a pretty intense word, but how long is it going to take for you to realize people cannot concentrate for longer than 40 minutes at one time, right? So why do you keep pushing them longer than 40 minutes or 60 minutes or going, doing 90-minute sessions? Stop. Why would you do that, right? If you want to maximize learning and maximize people taking in the information, give them breaks. Really, folks, give them breaks, all right? Third thing, not teaching in a variety of styles or different learning styles, right? Now, we can have the whole conversation about learning styles, but let's just put that aside for a second. Because what we know for as a fact is if you are more of a visual learner, you're going to default back to what you actually love, which is the handouts, which is the looking at the thing, which is reading the thing, which is the PowerPoints, right? If you yourself are more of an auditory person, you're going to default to those ways, right? You're going to default to the class discussion, the audio clips, the videos and all the audio stuff, right? The music. That's what you're going to go to, right? Now, if you're a kinesthetic person, you're going to default back to the role plays, the practical activities, the task, right? What you need to appreciate is your audience are not you. Your audience are not you. So stop thinking everybody learns exactly like you do, right? They don't. So a great way to, on the flip side, respect your audience is to go, okay, everyone learns differently. How can I incorporate multiple different ways to learn the content that I'm about to go through with my audience, right? So the respectful thing to do is have your visuals, have your discussion time, have your practical tasks to do. Whether it's PD workshop, a leadership workshop, a corporate workshop, whatever it is. Get your learning style sorted so everybody's on board. If you don't, well, you can't disrespecting your audience, right? So next one is not thinking about disabilities or color blindness when you're actually choosing colors that you're writing in. What a crazy idea, right? We need to appreciate red is a hard color to read. So why are you using it? Green is a hard color to read. So why are you using it? Yellow is a hard color to read. So why are you using it? All right. So make sure you pick the right colors when you're trying to demonstrate something to an audience or write something on a flip chart or a whiteboard, right? Respect your audience by going, can they see it? Can they not? All right. What a crazy idea to freaking ask yourself, can they actually see it or not? What a crazy idea. Maybe it's a good thing to do. Next one. Expect people to hear something once and remember it forever. I know in my life, there's so many times that people tell me things once and it goes in one ear and out the other, right? Or this ear out the other, right? So the thing is, why would you expect any different when you're speaking to an audience, right? So don't think that you can just say something once and they forget it, then you get upset that they've forgotten it, right? It's not how humans work. We need to hear things multiple times, if not 19 times, before something goes from short term memory to long term, or for us to take action on it, right? And we need to have absolute clarity in our minds to be able to take the action in the way that probably the presenter or trainer wants, right? So be very, very clear with your communication. And if you're not, and if you're just saying it once, expecting people to remember it, you're probably disrespecting your audience's ability, right? And that also comes back to tasks, right? Don't just do a task once and then think, oh, they've mastered that. Well, probably not. They probably need to do it 2 or 3, 4, 5 times before they've actually locked it in to their capacities, right? Next one. The next one of my favorites is sloppy feedback. Sloppy feedback, right? Sloppy. How do I define sloppy feedback? Well, I define it as feedback without a strategy. Feedback without a strategy. You probably want to grab a pen and write that down. So, sloppy feedback is feedback without a strategy, right? So, if you want to disrespect your audience, all you need to do is just give them sloppy feedback, right? So, that would be like, let's imagine that you are giving feedback to your audience and they've just done something, right? So, maybe you say to them, okay, well, that was okay, but your tonality was off. You need to fix your tonality, right? Now, I would define that as sloppy feedback, disrespectful. I would define it as sloppy because there's no value in there. There's no value in there as to what someone can take away, right? It's not delicious to digest, right? So how we change it? Well, we could say something to the effect of, okay, so that performance really good, really impactful. There, one way to make it even better would be to possibly look at your tonality. When you did X, it can or it could have sounded like this, and one perception may have been that you were saying X. In order to prevent that, in order to have even more powerful, positive tonality come across, one thing you could practice doing is voila. All right, pause. So, what did we do just then? We looked at, okay, we gave him some overall feedback, then we said, it's good. But one thing that happened, or one thing I noticed was blah. One thing or one way to fix that could be doing this. And we gave him a suggestion, we gave him a strategy. What a crazy idea, right? And it's the strategy that we give them that creates the value, right? So at the end of the day, the value is determined by how clear and specific that tip or that idea is for the other person, right? Now, whether they take that on board, whether they do that or not, it's a secondary thought. But sloppy feedback is just when we give them abstract ideas or we just give them our opinion, so to speak, right? So let's rewind the ways that we disrespect our audiences. Number one, we don't get our slides right. No, we don't even think about what it's like to look at them. We just design them in the best way that we think, right? Number two, not giving breaks. Not giving breaks. Not a good idea. If you want to respect your audience, give them multiple breaks and the breaks when they need them, right? And you should be preempting that. Next one is we don't teach to their learning styles or a variety of learning styles. We only teach to our own. How audacious, right? Next one is we don't think about color blindness and the colors of pens, writing on flip charts, on whiteboards, all that stuff. And we expect people to hear things and remember it instantly or do things once, and that's just enough. And next one, we give sloppy feedback. Sloppy feedback, right? So anyway, folks, hope you got some value from the video. Today was more of a bit of a discussion, a bit of a share of some ideas there about how people can unconsciously disrespect their audience. I don't know about you folks. I'm getting sick of it. I really am. I'm getting sick of people not doing these 6 things because we all know, common sense wise, we need these things to feel respected as adult learners in a workshop environment. So, as a presenter and trainer, I'm sure you, if you're watching these videos, you're probably someone that doesn't do any of these things, but you may have seen other people do it as well, right? Or you may have seen other people do it for stuff. So, anyway, these are 6 ways that trainers, presenters disrespect their audience. I don't know, folks, hope you got some value. As always, like, comment, share. Let's get the message out there. And thanks for all supporting the channel. Thanks, team. We'll see you on the next one.